Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie room. Now then, we are going into, what are we in now? Day 9 of our Beastie room build. And today we are going to be looking at getting all of the insulation in and then carrying on and plasterboarding the whole thing out so that it's ready. And it will hopefully start to look like a room. And as you can see, when we start the video, we are still bare bones. We're still like literally just framework on the inside. I hope you're enjoying this build as much as we are. We are so excited and we are sort of chomping at the bit now. We just want to get on. We just want to get going, get doing things. There's so much more to do. So hopefully you'll enjoy this bit and we can discuss a little bit about what we're doing and how it's all being done. So then, without further ado, let's get over and see what the guys got up to on the inside. Well, here we go. As you can see there, the electrics and everything have been put in, and it's now time to start getting ready for the plasterboarding and insulation. So the guys are now putting up a breathable membrane up on the ceiling there. As you can see, between that and the joist it's just open. And then you'll remember we had our warm roof on top. So there goes the first plasterboard. I think the roof has got to be the most back-breaking bit of it all. The ceiling, everything up above your head. So get all that insecure. Now it's interesting to see the room like this, because once this is all in, we will never remember what it looked like unless we look back on the videos. You can see there's our ventilation pipe in there as well. There'll be holes cut in the ceiling later on to take the vents and what have you for that. This membrane will basically stop the roof from sweating so that our plasterboards don't end up getting damp. So it's all there to help keep everything dry. Now it's surprising just how time consuming this sort of stuff is. It really does take a little bit of time. It all needs to be tacked up, moved about. As you can see there now, it's all in. The whole roof has now got a nice membrane all the way over it, and it's now time to start putting the boards in. Now I can't believe just how much this has changed as we've gone along. Every step of the way, it's big changes all the time. And I must admit, this has been an absolute joy for us, because this is the first time ever. And bearing in mind now, I am 57 years old and I've been doing this since I was a kid. And I've built reptile rooms, bird rooms, all sorts of stuff, converted garages, built freestanding rooms like this one. And always ended up doing it myself with materials that I've managed to scrounge and what have you, because I've not been able to afford to do it. You know, I just back in the early days, I could not afford to do this. And we are very fortunate now to be in a position where we can afford to have someone come in and build it for us. Now, although I know how to build it, physically this would have taken me an awful lot longer to do had I done it on my own. Even if I'd got some help, it would still have been an arduous task to undertake. So this has been absolutely phenomenal to be able to have Tucker and a team in to actually do this for me. It really has made a big difference. And also as well, although I've done different rooms in the past, I am not a professional. I am just a DIY guy who, you know, can turn his hand to a few bits and pieces. And this is the first project that I've ever undertaken where someone else has done all the work. And I must admit, it's been an absolutely wonderful thing to sit back and watch. And also because these guys are professionals. They know every inch of what they're doing and how it's done. And they, to be honest, would do a far better job than me, you know, in a fraction of the time. So, yeah, we are very, very lucky. To give you guys an idea, we've been saving for this for about 3 years. So I started saving and working towards it, and then it's only been in the last sort of 18 months that I've, you know, sort of sat back and thought, right, this actually could happen now, and it's time to start planning it in my mind, what I wanted and different bits and pieces. So this has been a long, long project. It's not something that's just happened overnight. It's taken a long time, a lot of hard work, and a lot of sacrifices as well. You know, we've, as you know, we've recently just moved and bought this place, and we've always been in rented accommodation up until then for the last 20 years. So yeah, it's a big, big thing. Now the guys have put the roof in now, as you can see. All the plasterboard is up, and they're now putting in the insulation. Now this insulation is absolutely awesome. It really is fantastic stuff. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Now we have many people in the trade telling us about this stuff, and it is phenomenal. And it's called Actis Hybris insulation, and it basically is a foil on either side. You have silver foil on one side, gold foil on the other. So the silver foil is inside the building and the gold foil is pointing on the outside of the building, towards the outside. So it goes that way around. As you can see, it's actually all the silver is on the inside. Now this is basically, as you can see there, Tucker was cutting it with a handsaw. You notice there's no mess. This stuff is fabulous, and it's real quick and easy to put in. So fast, clean. It's absolutely wonderful. Now the insulation properties of this are supposed to outweigh Celotex and everything else. Now in the past we've used Rockwool, Celotex. We've used all sorts of different types of insulation, and I've never been particularly happy with any of them. They've all had their drawbacks. They've all been a bit weak in one area or another. You can see there John's silver foil in the edges where they join, so they'll all be kept in nice and neat. And this stuff, as long as if you overcut it by about 10mm bigger than what you want it to be, then it actually slots in and it holds fast within that. Now with Rockwool, over time it sinks just because of the weight of it. It's very heavy. Celotex stays there, but we've had problems with Celotex in the past. Ants have got in and gnawed it away. Wasps and things will actually get in and use it as well. So and I've never found it to be particularly good, especially when it comes to keeping a room cooler than the outside temperature. And yet this stuff, there's many in the trade that have said, like, you know, go this way because it is the best stuff on the market at this point in time. Now, no doubt in another 3-4 years time there'll be something else that's even better, but at the moment this is the best option. Now, in terms of cost, this stuff is a little bit more expensive. It's about a third more expensive than Celotex or Rockwool or anything like that, but the insulation properties of it should more than outweigh the extra cost. And to my way of thinking, when doing a build like this, insulation is possibly the most important part of the build, because we must maintain a cool room in the summer and a warm room in the winter. So we have literally put all of our, there's been an awful lot of thought go into how we were going to build this room and how we were going to insulate it. You remember we've insulated the floor and the ceiling with Celotex, and we've now done the walls in this Actis Hybris. So we should, in theory, have covered everything. Now, I've been running thermometers in the room and one out in the garden. And so far, bearing in mind that there is absolutely no heat, there's nothing. Once we shut that door, it is just a sealed room. And so far, the room has managed to stay between 10 and 12 degrees lower in temperature than the outside temperature in the garden. So that is really, really encouraging, because overheating in the summer was one of my main concerns. So the fact that we are already sort of 12 degrees below temperature with nothing going on is a very, very good start. Now we're starting to get the boards in now to seal off the side. You notice there was the membrane went on as well. So we've got our insulation. We then put our membrane on as well. As you remember, this is to keep any dampness out. It's actually starting to look like a room now. So it's really, really coming together. As you can see there, they're measuring up, cutting the boards, getting them all in the right places. Now we've also got down in that corner where Tucker is now, there's 8 or 9 double plug sockets going in that wall. A long line of them going from top to bottom. As you can see there now, they've left that bit open. That will all be cut in later on. But for now, we're just going to get the main part done. So as you can see, although it does look quite quick on the camera, this is roughly 2 days work here, getting all of this in. So between getting everything, all the insulation, all the boards, all the rest of it in, you'll also notice that there's a stack of plaster there on the bottom left hand corner of your screen. A little hint as to we are getting prepared, ready for our plasterer to come in. He's already organised, so there it is, nice big stack of plaster there, and we can get it all plastered up. I say with rooms I've done in the past, I've never plastered them before, so I've never put the plasterboard up and plastered the room. All I've ever done is I normally would do this, I would insulate it, and then I would ply sheet it, and then I would build straight to them ply sheets. So yeah, this is actually going to look like a purpose-built room. Very, very posh considering what we've had in the past. So as you can see the guys there cutting it, it's so easy and clean to cut. Absolutely wonderful stuff. I highly recommend this stuff. Anyone who's doing anything in the future, and I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I certainly do believe that that will pay dividends in the end. And even just for the sake of it just being so much clean. Any of you guys that have done this sort of thing before will remember, if you've done Rockwool, Oh, you itch for days afterwards with the glass fibres getting into your skin. Horrible stuff. Gets in the air, you're breathing it in. This stuff is just lovely. Look how clean it is. They're flying through now. So we've got half the room done, and we're now cracking on, get the second half done. We'll tape up all the joints. Now the silver foil tape that we use to cover all these joints, I also use this stuff for sticking down heat mats and things like that. Silver foil tape is absolutely wonderful stuff. There goes the membrane. Get all that up there again. I just love watching how this all just fits together. So cool to watch. There you go, there's the first board going in. Now down in the very right hand corner here is where my desk is going to be. And unfortunately the camera's not quite actually round that bit to cover it. But we've got some sockets and bits and pieces down there as well. We showed them in the last video where we showed where the wiring was. And talking of the wiring and electricians, hopefully next time they come round we can get a little bit of footage of them in action. And get a bit of footage of it all going in and all the bits and pieces being done. That would be absolutely extra cool. You can see there in that right hand, well, in the middle of your screen now, the silver sockets, which is the back boxes to all of the sockets. So in this room we have, I think there's 30 double sockets in this room. And we're also allowing for a data cable to come through so that we have internet in the room, so that we can do live streams and bits and pieces. That way we can be pretty much future proof. We've also opted for an aircon unit, and I was surprised at actually how how cheap they are. I thought they'd be much more expensive, but they're not a bad option really. And for the amount of control it will give us in this room, I think it's going to be, money really well spent. But we will go into that a little bit more when we put it in, and you'll see it being installed, and yeah, you'll get to see it all going on. I do so hope you're enjoying these videos as much as we've done making them. I mean, this video here, this runs for only 25 minutes, but there was actually, there must have been somewhere in the region of about 15 hours of filming. So much filming, lots and lots of filming. So yeah, it's actually quite a lot of hard work to document everything that's going on, and then sit back and edit it and, bring it all into something that's viewable and hopefully not too boring. We, you can sort of sit and think, well, it might be a little bit like watching paint dry, but we're trying to make it as interesting as possible. And also we're trying to cover everything so that you can see how it all goes. And here we are almost finished with this stage of the build. We are almost ready for our plasterers. I hope you enjoyed this. Well guys, what do you reckon? Things are really starting to take shape, aren't they? It's really coming together. I'm so excited. Now, in the video there, you'd have seen that we actually, when we started planning this build, one of the things that I was really keen on was trying to find an insulation that would work really well, because there's no point spending an absolute small fortune building something if it's not going to be suitable for purpose. Now, we went down the route of many different things. Now, in the past, when I've done my reptile room and bits and pieces in the past, I also built a massive big bird room years ago, which was actually bigger than this build here. And insulation has always been the issue, especially come winter time, because we want to try and keep things a little bit warmer, especially in the reptile room. We wanted to get that heat in there, keep it warm. And then we also, one of the things that often is not thought about is how do we keep it cool in the summer? Because when we get days where we're hitting 30 degrees or whatever, although we don't get them often, if we get 2 or 3 days of 30 degrees, it can be a little bit of a worry. So we need to be able to have an insulation that will actually keep our room cool as well as warm. So we need a room that breathes. Now, in the past, we've used rock wool in the walls. To some extent, it's not been the best stuff in the world. We've also used, oh, blimey, I've forgotten the name of the damn stuff now. Oh, Celotex. We've also used Celotex in the walls before, and also like floors and ceilings as well. Now, you would have known that in previous videos, when we done the roof and the floor videos, you'll see that we use Celotex in those. Now, I've not been a fond lover of, well, not a great lover of Celotex. I don't think it's particularly that effective. It's fine in the flooring and in the ceiling it seems to work okay, but in the walls I've never been that impressed. So we found another stuff that's quite, I wouldn't say new on the market, but it's really causing a bit of a storm. And this is Actis Hybris, which is basically a foil wrapped plastic corrugated system. And it comes in bundles, as you'd have seen on the video there, the guy's pulling it out, and then you literally stretch it out and that activates it, opens it all up, and then you put it all in the wall. Now, some of the benefits of this stuff is by talking to other guys in the trade, because as you guys know, I drive for a living, I drive a grab lorry, so we talk to many different builders in the course of our work, and the ones that I've spoken to have all said go for this stuff. It's the best stuff on the market at the moment. So that's what we done. It's a little bit more expensive than the Celotex or rock wool and stuff like that, but the benefits should far outweigh the expense, the extra expense. So we put it in, and fingers crossed it will work out perfectly well. The benefits of it obviously is a better insulation. It's also so clean. You can literally just cut it. There's no mess on the floor. There's no dust like you get with Celotex. There's no glass fibers like you get with rock wool. It is absolutely clean. It's perfect stuff. And all you do is literally cut it slightly oversized, 10mm oversized from what the gap you want it on, and then just squeeze it into the hole and it just sits there. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. Really cool. So we are hoping that that will give us the warmth and the cooling in the summer as well. It should work both ways. And as we've seen at the moment, our building at the minute, when we've had temperature gauges inside and outside, our building at the moment is basically 10 degrees cooler than the outside temperature, just as it is at the moment. That's with no heating, no nothing going on in it, but it is around about 10 or 12 degrees cooler than the outside temperature. So I'm really pleased with the effect that it's having so far. We won't really know its full extent until next summer, when we get a real, get the hot weather, we get lights and bits and pieces going on in there. It's going to be a different kettle of fish then, but the initial findings are very good. So that is it. Insulation in. We've now got the plasterboard up. It's just time now to wait for the plasterer. And once we can get him in, we can get it all plastered out, we can now be then looking for the second fix, which is basically powering up everything in the building, so we can have lights in there. So it will start to look like a proper building. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully you gained enough information out of the commentary as we went through to explain the little bits and pieces that's going on. But let me assure you, absolutely everything has been thought about in this building. We have gone over it. I've been planning this building for 18 months, and I've been going backwards and forwards with so many different ideas until we finally got what we're doing now. And so far I am really pleased with the progress. It's going to be really cool. Very, very exciting. Right then, until next time, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.